Some mysteries should never be solved. In the frozen wilderness of Russia's Ural Mountains, 9 experienced hikers vanished under circumstances so bizarre, they've haunted investigators for more than 60 years. This is the Dyatlov Pass Incident, a real-life horror where the cold wasn't the only thing to fear. In January 1959, 9 young Soviet students and mountaineers, led by Igor Dyatlov, set out on a skiing expedition to reach the remote peak of a Torten mountain. They were experienced, strong, and ready for the challenge ahead. Each of them carried journals, cameras, and the excitement of youth, documenting every moment of their adventure into the white unknown. But the mountains don't forgive mistakes, and this time, they wouldn't let anyone return. Their journey began full of laughter, friendship, and determination. They trekked across frozen rivers, dense forests, and windswept valleys, taking photos, making jokes, writing about their progress. But the deeper they went into the wilderness, the harsher the world around them became. The wind screamed louder, the snow grew thicker, and each night the silence felt heavier. By February 1st, they had reached the slopes of Koletsyakal, a name that meant Mountain of the Dead to the native Mansi people. There, they set up their final camp. The temperature that night dropped below 30 degrees Celsius. But the cold wasn't the only thing watching them. Something happened that night. Something so sudden, so terrifying, that it made all 9 hikers cut their way out of their own tent from the inside and flee barefoot into the freezing darkness. No one knows what drove them to do it. Some say they heard something, others that they saw something. But imagine it, pitch black, howling wind, snow whipping your face, and 9 terrified people stumbling through the blizzard, half-dressed, their footprints fading behind them. Whatever happened on that mountain, it drove them to madness, or to their deaths. When the hikers failed to return, rescue teams were sent out. Weeks passed before anyone found their campsite. What the rescuers discovered was like something out of a nightmare. The tent stood, ripped open, half buried in snow. Inside were boots, coats, food, even cameras. Everything was in place, as if they'd left in an instant. Following a line of footprints down the slope, the searchers found the first 2 bodies under a cedar tree. Barefoot, half-dressed, huddled beside a small fire that had burned out long ago. 3 more were found between the tree and the tent, as if they'd been trying to crawl back. And weeks later, beneath 4 meters of snow, the last 4 were discovered, mangled, broken, and frozen in unnatural positions. Autopsies revealed injuries that made no sense. 2 had shattered ribs and crushed chests, injuries that could only be caused by an enormous, invisible force. Another had a fractured skull, and 1 woman was missing her tongue. Yet there were no signs of external wounds, no bruises, no cuts, no struggle. Even stranger, traces of radiation were found on their clothes. And when the bodies were retrieved, their skin had turned orange. Their hair faded almost white. Something had terrified them, and whatever it was, it left no trace but death. The Soviet investigation ended abruptly. The official statement read, "An unknown compelling force caused their deaths." But nobody believed that. Rumors began to spread. Some whispered that the hikers had stumbled into a secret military testing zone, caught in the path of weapons that were never meant to be seen. Others swore there were bright lights in the sky that night, silent orbs moving above the mountain. Locals believed the place was cursed, that strange creatures, not human, roamed the snow, and that the mountain itself rejected those who entered it. The government sealed the case files, declared the area restricted, and warned witnesses to stay silent. Whatever they were hiding, it was buried under layers of snow and fear. Even today, the Dyatlov Pass stands as a riddle wrapped in cold and conspiracy, its truth frozen in time. In 2019, the Russian government reopened the Dyatlov case. Their new conclusion? An avalanche. But that explanation didn't convince anyone. The slope where the hikers camped wasn't steep enough. The tent wasn't buried, and the injuries were far too severe for snow alone. Even scientists argued against the official story. The more they studied, the more the mystery deepened. Over 60 years later, every theory, no matter how logical, only seems to lead back to one thing. Something impossible happened that night. Whatever happened on that frozen slope may never be known. 9 lives were taken by something no one could explain, The snow still covers their last footsteps. The wind still howls through the pass. And sometimes when the night is silent, locals say you can still hear faint voices calling for help, carried by the cold. The Dyatlov Pass remains silent, but its silence feels alive, watching, listening, waiting, as if the mountain itself remembers everything and chooses to tell no one.